This is Andi Purewal for Boxing Social in association with Betfred, and I am delighted to be joined by Jordan Gill, fresh off his victory over Cesar Juarez this past weekend. Jordan, congratulations on again another very good performance. Talk to me about your win.
I thought it was good. Thank you very much. I'm pleased with the fight. It was a good fight to be involved with. It was a pleasure to kick off the show. You know, it's probably one of the hottest, like the highest anticipated show of the year so far. You know, everybody was looking forward to that show. It was a stacked card, and it was great to be able to jump on it, especially last minute and in a big fight for myself as well. So, you know, it was a good fight. It was action packed from start to finish, and I'm glad we come away with the win.
Talk to me about Cesar himself, Jordan, because in there, despite it was a very composed and very good performance from himself, like I say, but he was just relentless. He kind of seemed like no matter what you could do, he was just going to continue to come forwards, and he could have done that for much longer if the fight had any more rounds added to it.
He could have done 50 rounds, couldn't he? You ever seen Rock and Roller when them Russians are chasing that just they get stabbed, shot at, hit by cars, and just keep coming? I think he's one of them guys. And I remember, like, when they was announcing our names and stuff in the ring, I was looking across at him, and, you know, he just had that look on him. He looked like a serial killer. And I just thought to myself, how many people have you killed? He was absolutely mental, wasn't he? But, you know, top guy, good fighter, very tough man. But yeah, he was good. And before the fight, I was looking at him on tape and stuff, and it's hard to see the levels, because when you watch somebody, but you watch them against top level fighters, you know, and obviously they're getting hit, or they're sometimes they're imposing themselves, but you can't really tell how good they are compared to you, because they're like, I don't know, it's hard to judge the levels. And when I was in there, you know, I knew he was a good fighter. I knew it was my toughest test.
For you yourself, Jordan, what pleased you the most about what you was able to deliver on the night?
I think maturity. I think I showed maturity and toughness as well. There's a couple of times I had to tough it out where, you know, he was coming on strong, but, you know, I never felt vulnerable. I never felt hurt, but, you know, he constantly piled on the pressure. And for me to be able to stick with it and show the maturity, show the discipline, just to keep going, keep doing what was working for me, then that was good for me, and I was happy with that.
I don't know, two very different fighters, but did you feel any kind of, look, I don't want to say vindication, but did you get an extra kind of sweetness to the win because of kind of a Tinoco loss, facing another Mexican, something to kind of just cross off the list, something to take extra confidence from, or am I looking a bit too much into that?
No, I don't think so. I think there's a lot of comparisons made before the fight. So obviously he's very stylistically, he's very similar to Tinoco. He fights, it's like a Mexican. They're very similar, and he's from with the same promotional company as Tinoco. So, you know, those coming over, licking their lips, you know, we're full of confidence. So yeah, I think there's a lot of question marks over me going into this fight because of the Tinoco fight, coming up against another tough Mexican that's going to pile on the pressure. There was always going to be those question marks, but I feel like I've proved myself in that fight, because not only was this guy similar to Tinoco, obviously I couldn't get the Tinoco rematch, always wanted that fight. For one reason or another, it didn't happen. So what we done, we fought a Mexican from the same camp that's at a box at a high level, a better Mexican. So what more can I do to prove myself? You know, he landed more shots than Tinoco did. He punched harder than Tinoco did. I can vouch for that. And, you know, I proved myself. I took plenty of shots in there, shots that I didn't need to take and won't take next time. But, you know, I feel like I proved myself. It was a good fight.
Jordan, moving forwards with yourself, you've obviously, you know, you mentioned the Tinoco fight, you've always wanted that rematch. Is that something you're still considering, or do you think now with the Juarez win, you can look above and beyond it?
I feel like with the Juarez win, we can look above and beyond. I feel like I put that to bed before this fight. You know, I always say today, coming up to this fight, everyone's saying, "Oh yeah, you don't like these Mexicans," but they never mentioned the Mexican that I beat before, Tinoco. So I was 1-on-1 going into this fight with Juarez, and it was 1-1. So I feel like we've won the decider now, so it's 2-1 to the Gill, to the thrill, and we can put that to bed. So I feel like there's plenty of big fights out there. If it's Tinoco, then it's Tinoco, but obviously we'll see what happens.
One name I did see, I don't know if it's something which has gone on between the pair of you recently, but I saw a little kind of a snippet of a video earlier saying you'd be open to an Isaac Lowe fight. Is there anything that's happened there between you previously?
No, not really. I mean, we've had a little back and forth on Twitter, a little bit of banter. I feel like he called my name saying, "No, I'll fight Jordan Gill on the Fury Joshua undercard," and I thought, you know what? It's like an open invitation to a party, and just like, oof, no problem. You know, I'll grab that opportunity with both hands. He always fights on the Fury undercards. I'd love an opportunity to fight on a Joshua Fury undercard. That's the biggest British fight in history, really. 2 heavyweights for all of the heavyweight championship of the world, Ring Magazine belt as well, and I'd be on that against Isaac Lowe, who's ranked top 10 or top 15 with more than one of the governing bodies. You know, I'll be ranked now after winning that ranking belt. He's ranked. Why can't this be a world title eliminator? You know, it's a domestic fight, but I feel like it's above domestic level. So it's great to have a British rivalry, and I feel like I'm levels above Isaac Lowe. I think I can do a proper job on it.
Talking about, you know, away from Isaac, away from Tinoco, just kind of moving into that world scene now, Jordan. What's the plan? What's the route that kind of Dave or Eddie are trying to plan out for you?
Well, I feel like I'm still young. I'm still learning. I'm still developing. Every fight, I feel like you're seeing more and more improvements. You know, what I've done on Saturday still isn't the finished article and nowhere near the finished article. And I'm looking forward to showing more in every fight and having more questions asked of me. So I feel like Isaac Lowe's a great fight. And that's stepping up through the ranks as well. If there's another fight with another guy in the top 15 that gets me close to a world title shot, then that's another opportunity as well. But at the end of the day, I just need to keep taking steps towards that goal, whether it's European title shot, whether it's another top 15 guy that I can get closer up the rankings. I'm not sure, but you know, I'm sure Dave has a plan. I've not spoken to him yet. It's still a bit fresh from Saturday. I'm sure Dave's constantly on at Eddie to get me out and to move me up to where I need to be. So I do what Dave tells me to do. I'll fight who they tell me to fight. I do what I'm told to do in the gym. That's my end of the bargain. I train hard. I'm in condition. I turn up to the gym every day and give it my all. And you saw that in the ring on Saturday night, because, you know, if I wasn't in condition, I would have got found out on Saturday night. This guy pressed me for 10 rounds, non-stop from start to finish. And I dealt with it. I kept mentally strong. I was physically strong. I tied him up when he come in and worked inside. When it was time to fight, I fought with him. When it was time to box, I boxed him. And, you know, what more could I have done?
Jordan, just a final thing on yourself before we move on to a few other fights from the past week. And you, moving forwards, once again, you know, it's been spoken about quite a lot of, you know, fighters needing to push themselves into tougher fights throughout this pandemic to be able to make sure they can get out and to see effectively, you know, how far along the sport they are. How are you finding trying to get that right balance in that? You've just fought somebody who's fought at world level before in Cesar Juarez. You're mentioning there you want to kind of make sure you don't rush yourself because you want to go through the levels. You want to continue to improve at your own pace. Is it difficult? Are you finding it tough to manage that side of things?
No, because that's not down to me. If Dave's got a lot of confidence in me, and you know, for me, that's all I need to know is if Dave thinks I'm ready, then I'm ready, and he thinks I'm ready for anyone. So I'm sure we'll take the right step to the right time. Cesar Juarez was a big jump, and you know, we saw his levels on Saturday night. He pushed me, but at the end of the day, I was one step ahead. And you know, it's hard to get the balance because you do want to go up the levels. You want to be pushed, but at the same time, you see a lot of kids are taking a step too far for them, and they're getting found out. I stepped up after a year out and boxed Bellotti in a big domestic fight, and now I've gone up past domestic level and boxed Juarez. So, you know, I feel like the better opponents I face, the better I box, and until you try, you don't know. You got to dip your toes in the water, and if you're good enough, you'll win. If you're not good enough, you won't win.
Having said that, Jordan, moving on to another fight from this past weekend, Josh Kelly, David Avanesian with that stoppage win. Just your thoughts on it, really, and kind of, again, you just said there, if you're good enough stepping up, you will win. If you're not, then you won't. It's something that effectively applies to Josh.
Yeah, well, to be honest with you, when I boxed, I just got off straight away. I didn't watch the fight. I've not watched any fight from that bill. So I got off straight away. I was home by 10:30, 11 o'clock. So I was checking out the hotel, packing my bags, had a nice little shower when I got back to my room as well. So I just wanted to get home and chill out. So I've not seen anything. All I've seen is Josh Kelly come out with a statement, and he's basically said what I've just said. He said he was beaten by the better man on the night. And, you know, what more can you ask from yourself? If you step up, you either win or you don't. You win or you learn. So, you know, he'll have learned a lot. He's only had a few fights. He's young. He's the same age as me. I remember I've got a program from the CYPs, like the boys clubs. And the 57 kilogram final, Alfie Price versus Josh Kelly. 60 kilo final, Jordan Gill versus Hadley Jalil. I think Josh Kelly beat Alfie Price. I don't know, it was a close fight. But yeah, I won the boys clubs that year, and I think Josh Kelly won them that year as well. So you know, and that was 10 years ago or 9 years ago, and now we're sharing a bill. Well, he's top of the bill. Both in big fights. So you know, it's funny how it works out. But yeah, I'm sure he'll be back. I'm sure he'll take a lot from that. You know, he's got a good coach in Adam Booth, and I'm sure they'll go back to the drawing board and come back in big fights again.
Do you have a chance when you was in the bubble with him last week to kind of reminisce over something like what you just mentioned, boxing on the same bill 10 years ago as amateurs coming through?
No, do you know what? I kept myself to myself, to be honest. The only interaction we had was when I went into the bubble, the first day I was allowed out, because I was probably one of the last ones to go in. So I got tested, and I managed to get my test back the same day. So I went downstairs to have a look at all the setup and everything. And Scott from Matchroom was taking me around, showing me the gym. And Josh Kelly was doing like a workout, and Adam Booth was training Mick Conlon, and Richard Towers and the other guys were there in the gym. That they had quite a big entourage. So I was walking through the gym, just being shown around, like minding my own business. And Josh Kelly was hitting the bag, and he just looked at me. He goes, "Jordan Gill," said, "Something special's happening here, Jordan Gill. Something special's happening." I just put my phone up. I was like, "Yeah, go on, man, crack on." So I thought he's in the zone here, and he said something special was happening. So you know, he looked in good spirits before the fight, and you know, I wanted him to win because you know, it would have been good for British boxing for him to win. But at the same time, David Avanesian is a beast. And he seemed like a cool character all week. He was happy in himself as well. So, you know, like I said, best man will always win on the night. And I'm sure Josh Kelly will be back.
Right, Jordan, we'll leave that there now. I'll leave you to enjoy your time off. What are you going to do to celebrate your win and to enjoy this little brief period away from it?
Well, we're in lockdown, aren't we? So I might treat myself to a walk and then, you know, stare into the abyss for a while. I might pick a different wall to stare at. And I don't know, just maybe watch some movies. I've stocked up on ice cream. Got myself a nice coffee. Said I was going to do some baking with my wife. So that's on the agenda. Maybe make some cookies, sausage and mash. What I don't know. There's not much to do.
You're not going to have any takeaways?
Maybe a Chinese. We've missed out for a little while now. So, yeah, we'll see. But I said to Dave earlier on the phone, I'll pop up to Sheffield and see him this week. I know we'll have Lerone and Hopi back in the gym now. Lerone's got a big European title shot coming up. So be good to see everyone and get back to it probably next week.
Jordan, I look forward to seeing you back in the ring very soon. Enjoy your time off whilst you have it. But thank you for your time as always, mate. And thanks for speaking to Boxing Social.
Cheers, mate. Have a good one.